Yes, we are live. Welcome back to Talking Nerds. It's been a while, but we're still amateurs, and we're still streaming here. We're still trying this, so um, we meant to do this a lot sooner. But anyways, welcome back to Season 3 of Talking Nerds. My name's Nate. I'm joined with Nick and Tyler tonight, or Bluey, and a lot has happened. I'm actually looking at stats here on the fly, but Barbie made $1.5 billion in the box office. Secret Invasion was the most hated Marvel show on Disney Plus, and Blue Beetle was Blue Beetle. It was.
Did that come out?
Yeah, that came out, and it was not great.
That's how insignificant these are.
But we're not here to talk about all that stuff. We're here to talk about something special, which we'll get to soon. But anyways, so what have we been up to? Well, I've been playing a lot of games. I played Starfield for about 25 hours and then decided, this is too woke for me. And it's also just probably the most bland video game I've ever played. Now, granted, it is a Bethesda game, and I'm not really used to Bethesda games. They're very slow-paced. But, boy, they really shoved the pronoun stuff down your face. So that was great. And so I quit that game. And lately I've just been... Yeah, lately I've just...
$70 on that.
I know, $80 I spent on that game. So... That's my worst investment of the year. But I have been playing a lot of Diablo still. So, that was $100. That was well spent. And, of course, I've been playing Lies of P, which just came out a couple weeks ago. And it is a Souls game, and it whips my butt. But it's actually a lot of fun. So I have been enjoying that. And I've been watching a lot of shows, mostly Doctor Who. I'm in Season 4 right now. And Ahsoka, which we're going to talk about tonight. So excited for that. And my favorite show of the year, One Piece, which it was a pleasant surprise, actually. It was fantastic. And I recommend everybody watch it, even if you're not an anime fan, because good content is hard to find these days. So, and of course, been watching a lot of movies, and that's really it. Comics, a lot of I've been reading X-Men, the new X-Men run back in the early 2000s. So that's been great. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. What about you guys?
Always.
First off, I didn't know we weren't using real names. But
I thought we were using our fake names. I'm Spider-Man.
Oh, actually, yeah. I want to be Spider-Man. I'm Miles.
That was
Miles Morales.
Yeah, Miles Morales is Miles Morales, not Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah.
I haven't been doing much, just mostly working and planning vacations and watching really crappy TV shows.
This is what we do.
Yeah.
We watch, so what's the joke? Like, my hands look like this, so hers can look like that.
It's true. We do this for you, our 0 listeners. So really, we're not doing this for anybody.
But we're doing it to ourselves.
We're doing it to ourselves just for the fun of it. It's fun. It's fun to talk about it.
Yeah.
But hey, you should watch One Piece. I think you'll actually really enjoy it. So.
Yeah, possibly. I will try to find time.
Yeah. Tyler?
I need to get Netflix back. That's why I didn't watch it.
You can use mine.
Netflix.
Actually, you can't use mine because you don't live with me.
Right. Actually, I rolled that back. But either way, I'm still...
I don't know. I think
no apparent reason, just boycotting Netflix.
Yeah. F them all. They all suck.
Right. I know they got Disney Plus for 2 reasons.
The
and
worst of all of
We'll
them.
get to one of them.
Mhm.
I haven't been doing a lot of gaming, except I will probably be doing more gaming because Counter-Strike 2 just came out yesterday,
Nice.
so I'll probably be playing that. It's not
Yeah.
really nerdy, but it's a fun first-person shooter. So
You should get back into Diablo.
I should. Which I might actually have a lot more time to game in the future here.
Yeah.
I'll have an announcement next week for it, but I can't announce it this week yet.
Okay.
So,
Oh no.
Bartholomew
Bartholomew is back.
Hey, we love
And
Bartholomew.
he's got a stiffy for Bluey. That is all.
That is all.
That is all.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
big announcement for me next week. I'll share with the podcast. I just don't want to because I'm telling the boys when we hang out on Saturday.
Cool. So I'll find
I'll
out.
have to come to game. Yeah, you'll find out. That's why I want to tell you with the boys.
I love you
we
too,
love you.
Bartholomew, even though I have no idea who you are.
That's nice.
We love our
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah.
We do. We love our fans. Other than that, yeah, just watching Ahsoka and
Cool.
getting back into it really. The nerd stuff kind of took a pause when the podcast took a pause, to be honest. I
Sad.
got through the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now it's more of a reason to yeah. Oh, you gotta tell him, Bart. Bart, you're spoiling it.
Bart, what are you doing?
Ah.
I always thought his nickname would be more of a Mew than a
Mew.
Bart.
Mew. You mewling whip. What's that from?
I like my Pokemon. Mew.
Nice. Well, unfortunately, we are missing a talking nerd tonight. Zach is absent. But he wanted us to mention that Gen V, which is a spin-off show of The Boys, is premiered tonight with 2 episodes. So if you're into The Boys, go check it out. I have no context yet, so I have no idea whether it's good or bad. I'm assuming it's bad, just because. But we'll see. Maybe I'll watch it. But tonight we are here to talk about the best show on streaming services, which is Ahsoka. And if you can't tell, that is sarcasm. But that is my opinion, so we're here to discuss it. So, Tyler, I kind of want to get your thoughts first because you're the big Filoni fan here. So what are your thoughts?
The show itself, I'm getting. It's not great. But I'm not gonna go and say that it's awful either.
Okay.
I'm getting like big Obi-Wan vibes from personally, where it's like, I don't know. Hear me out. It's It's like I see a lot of the connections and a lot of the good things that are coming out of it, but if you take the show itself and separate it, it's not that great of a show. That's kind of where I'm at right now. It's cool that it's calling in a bunch of Rebels lore into the big screen universe. We all knew that was going to happen anyway, but it's cool to see it. And some of the little things too. This most recent episode. Am I allowed to talk spoilers?
Spoilers are allowed, yes.
Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get out of here. Okay, great.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. They tied in the Mandalorian with it specifically this episode by calling the conflict on Mandalore with Gideon. Like stuff like that is good and cool. But as for a show, it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Not a lot of character development. I feel like Sabine's the same Sabine from episode 1. Ezra's a little cheesy, I think, for me.
Yeah.
And then Ahsoka is, I don't know how to feel about her yet. Come back to me next week. I really don't, I haven't broke it down in my head how I
Finale
feel
is next week, so you don't have much time to think
well,
about
that's
it.
what I'm saying. Give me till next week. Let me think over the whole season, and then we'll talk.
Nerds. Yes, we are nerds. That is that is the name of the podcast, Talking Nerds. Thank you, Andy.
My volleyball
Nerd
grandpa.
herd.
Volleyball grandpa.
Nice. Welcome back, Grandpa. We are back. Yes, thank you.
The nerds are back in
The
town.
nerds are back in town. Yeah. I have not watched Rebels, and I think that's one of my biggest problems with the show is that you have to watch 7 seasons of Clone Wars and 5 seasons of Rebels to understand what is going on. I'm having a smoke. Okay, thank you. Glad you can enjoy us during your smoke. But
Great.
Yeah, I think Star Wars is a cinema masterpiece. It's one of the biggest cinema sagas in film history. You know, it's arguably the grandfather of the sci-fi genre. It's important, you know, in terms of pop culture and film. And it's been reduced to a streaming category on Disney Plus, you know? And it's Ahsoka in particular is a sequel to a cartoon that was on a Disney cartoon channel that is a spin-off. It's meant to be a spin-off of Star Wars, and this is supposed to be the main continuity of Star Wars now. I think that's kind of my biggest problem with it, other than the fact that it is the most bland, boring content I think Star Wars has ever put out. Not just bad, it is bad, but it's just bland. It's very bland. I think
that's
probably
perfect. That encapsulates how I was feeling. It's not awful. It's just bland.
I feel like 75% of this show is just staring at each other and Ahsoka crossing her arms. You know? And I have nothing against Rosario Dawson. I think she's a good actor in most of the stuff she's in, but she's not a good Ahsoka. And you put her up next to Hayden Christensen in a fight, there is no way you're going to convince me that she could take his lightsaber from him and beat him in a battle. Even if it's her wet dream. I'm sorry. Like, what the frick?
Okay. I'm just saying, I'm just saying. I'm gonna not read that out. I'm just saying. I think that.
Sorry. That was good.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for that picture. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
More entertainment than Ahsoka.
It was. Yeah. That was more expression I had than in any episode I watched.
Yeah, they did a really nice job. I'd say I think that's why I'm getting the Obi-Wan vibes, is because it's the flashbacks / dream. But I do like how, as I'm thinking about it, I like how they're not guiding Ahsoka into the path of the Jedi or the path of the Sith. She's still very gray, and I think that's where you're going to get a lot of value out of her, is if you keep her a gray Jedi.
Yeah.
Which they're doing, but in a boring way.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, I think the bland thing is on, and I think, yeah, if you didn't have the Rebels connections, then it would be a very boring show. It would probably be kind of like an Andor, even though I didn't finish Andor.
It feels to me like they're rewriting canon.
Yeah.
With a lot of different things.
Yeah. You're right, because I think there's a lot. Well, there's a lot that you're like, how are other connections not being made within the Star Wars universe?
Like probably Luke Skywalker being in the freaking master of the New Jedi Temple and not being mentioned at all.
Right.
Not even shown up, just mentioned.
Yeah, and we get the mention of Leia in the last episode here.
Yeah, but that was pathetic.
What the heck was that?
I'm sorry, but that senator was kind of right. Like, I'm sorry, she's kind of a chump for saying, "Oh, I'm a general, I can get away with anything." Like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
I like that Mon Mothma is the head of the Republic and all, especially after watching Andor. I think that's a cool story development. However, sending C-3PO into like this big Republic hearing, it's like, what?
It's a member berry, just like everything else in the show. It's all keys jiggling in your face, saying, "You remember this? You remember this? You remember Anakin?" I'm sorry, Anakin was
R2.
Anakin was already shown in Obi-Wan, and in my opinion, you kind of failed at that. And so, like, it's like he already had Hayden Christensen already had his grand return to Star Wars in that show. So, and like, he wasn't good at all in this. Like, he looked great. His fighting was awesome, and I'm sorry, he would have whooped her butt. But it wasn't anything great, and I think that's another that kind of goes with the bland thing. It's like they're showing a lot of things to just nostalgia bait you, and it's not anything of substance.
Here's a question. Do you think that these dreams should be trying to help Ahsoka since his redemption in episode?
Well, that's the thing I'm confused about. Is like he was trying to teach her her final lesson, right? Her final thing, but I don't know Rebels. I don't understand the world between worlds or whatever it's called. And so I don't know if that's in her head or if it's a Force ghost or what it is. And if it's just in her head, then she's teaching herself, and all she's doing is saying you should not drown here, stay alive. Like, what was the point of that whole episode, you know? If it's just in her head. So I don't understand that. You know, if anybody knows, enlighten me. But
it's been a while since I've seen Rebels, so I don't really remember that like dream world too much. But if I remember something, it was kind of not like a time travel thing, right? But it was kind of like Ahsoka in the Rebels TV show when she was fighting Darth Vader. She escaped, I think, through that, whatever that world is, right? I could be really off on that.
So Wikipedia says it's a collection of doors and pathways existing between time and space. So you're right, there is some time.
Yeah.
Travel. I don't know. I feel like if he was to teach her final lesson, it should be in the version of Force Ghost, as was Obi-Wan and Anakin when at the end of episode 6, when he's burning Darth Vader at the pyre and they're all there. Like, I feel like that's kind of the sense that you would get. Like, Obi-Wan throughout most of Luke's training is a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I feel like that's, if Anakin was to teach her last lesson, it should be in ghost form, but also the redeemed version of Anakin.
That was another problem. That was another problem I had with it, because Anakin's story is completed already. We already know his story. He already had his redemption. And for you to go back is literally, it's just nostalgia bait. It's just to show Anakin in his prime, or whatever you want to call it. And so you're right. You're 100% correct. He should be a Force ghost as a Jedi, a new redeemed Anakin. And
instead, I think they're just treating him as trauma.
Right.
Ahsoka,
And
and
they
it's
didn't
all in her head.
that whole episode wasn't earned at all because there was no setup for it. There was no context to why that should have happened. Balin, who actually is honestly my favorite character in this show, the only good character in this show, in my opinion.
Actually, I like Shin too.
Who?
His
Shin.
Padawan.
Oh, his little dog, lap dog.
I didn't
actually like
She looks like a
until the
poodle.
last episode.
Yeah. I'm sorry. She has a crazy look in her eyes. It's like, ugh.
I
don't know about you. And so, yeah, I mean, like, what really happened in that episode to really kind of earn that whole Ahsoka the White moment, that Gandalf moment, really? You know, that's what everybody's saying. It's true. It's like, she's Ahsoka the Gray, now she's Ahsoka the White. It's like, what happened to earn that, though? Like, you know, like, I don't understand why it's such a big deal to transform into that. She doubted, she let that, I mean, she already left the Jedi Order. She already went through all that crap in Rebels, right? So, like, with Anakin. So why is this suddenly affecting her? And how is it creating this newfound hope? I don't even know what it is. You know, like, what happened to trigger that, you know?
Yeah,
Like
she
that
literally
meme where Obama puts the Medal of Honor on Obama.
Yeah, it's like, and that's especially if it's in her head. It's like what?
Yeah.
She
No,
hyped
like,
herself up to
literally-
live. Like what?
She fought Darth Vader, I'm sure multiple times, right? In
Rebels.
I know at least once.
Yeah,
But
Yep.
she fought him multiple times as Darth Vader and knew that was Anakin.
yeah,
So like
I
why-
will say that was cool when they kind of flashed the lightning. And
yeah. But
okay,
but it was cheap. It was it was like it's just like, oh, he's Vader.
nostalgia bait.
okay,
Right, like
yeah, I
people
mean,
are like, oh, he's Vadering. It's like, shut up. Like,
like,
He's
of course,
Vadering.
yeah.
get a life.
But
Yeah.
it's kind of like the end of Rogue One where you see Darth Vader in the ship and he turns his lightsaber on.
I know, but it's a cool factor that if you, again, I thought it was cool too to see Anakin back, but if you ignore that and just focus on the plot, there's nothing there. The
Yeah.
whole episode was pointless.
The only way that Darth Vader works in Rogue One is if you have an entire movie without any other characters that you don't know.
Yeah, it creates mystery around him, just like Boba Fett had all this mystery around him, and then it was ruined when he had a TV show.
Right. You could have done this show without that episode and it would have worked fine. Also, I really wanted to bring this up. Sabine should be dead. I'm sorry. You can't take a freaking lightsaber to your gut and survive. You know why? Qui-Gon didn't die for Sabine to freaking live. I'm
It was
sorry.
episode 1, wasn't it?
Yes. Maybe
I-
2 or something like that. But
No, I'm pretty sure it was like episode 1, bro.
it was pretty early on. But I'm like, you gotta
maybe-
be freaking kidding me.
Yeah.
Just to get a little wound, like a little scar. I'm like, shut up.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the only thing I can say is Obi-Wan had to fight Darth Maul. And then, like, Qui-Gon was still technically alive. He didn't die right away. But,
Yes,
like,
but you know how hot a freaking... I sent you
Yeah,
guys a
hotter.
video. I sent you guys a video
you.
from Critical Drinker. I don't know if you guys watched it or not. But
Yeah, the one
No.
where it showed the
he
arteries and
explains how freaking hot a lightsaber is. Like, literally, if you... And especially because, Shin, she kept it in there for a good 4 or 5 seconds. You know what would happen is she would explode. Literally, she would explode, like the steam. It would just be like steam coming out of her, and she would explode.
But even if you denied that, the science of that, it still hit major arteries.
Yeah,
That would.
yeah. There is no way she would survive that. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I
So
don't.
The show started on the wrong foot already.
Yeah.
Like,
And so, like, I think this is kind of how I want to tie One Piece into it. Is I didn't watch Rebels. I don't know anything about these characters. I don't really care about these characters. But I've never read the One Piece manga. I've never watched the anime. And that show, I know you guys aren't going to understand because you haven't watched it, but that show made me care about those characters because it explains to the audience through a character who doesn't understand what's going on, what's happening in this world. Why is this important? And I think that's the most important part of storytelling, is setting up the world. At the very beginning is setting up the world. If you want to make this mainstream Star Wars, you need to tie it in for the normies or people who don't know what's going on. So I have no feelings about Sabine, and I freaking hate her immediately because she's, one, insufferable, and two, survives a freaking Jedi stab or a lightsaber stab. So I don't know.
She was much better in Rebels. Actually, I actually really liked her in Rebels.
Yeah.
Because
it's like I said, development. She developed in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that, like, you know, I always talk about, like, okay, there's a lot of insufferable, you know, women characters, but why can't we have masculine men in these anymore? Why can't we have strong men anymore? And like Ezra, I think, was the biggest example. Was why not just take the lightsaber back? You know, I've never seen him with a lightsaber, obviously. So like, freaking take the lightsaber back. Or
pretty cheesy in the show too, though.
Yeah, and you know, Sabine was even worse. The fact that she, what she did to get to him, what she caused, like, to their entire galaxy to get to him, and she can't tell him the truth about anything. Ahsoka, about what she did, and it's the most awkward reunion ever. It's like, what was the point of this? So
yeah.
It's just it feels like it was a chat GPT. Like, this was not well written at all, and I feel like it was written to make you feel emotions, but it's like writing something to be very emotional and like compelling, and it's just like you forgot the main substance. It's like you have to build the world for people to actually care about the characters and what's going on. You can't just get directly to that without building it out first, and you kind of forgot that step, and I think that's the missing link here, you know. So
the way I kind of see it is they built a lot with the Rebels TV show, but then they lost the momentum because that was just an offshoot show. It wasn't supposed to really go anywhere necessarily, and so it's like you lost this momentum, and then people are like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we brought back all these characters in this storyline? Which in theory, yes, but you kind of lost that momentum with all of these characters.
Right. And I think Star Wars is meant to be on the movie screen. It's a sci-fi action, big things are happening. You can't make it into a TV show format. I
think you can, but it's like, well, take for example season 1 Mandalorian.
Yeah, if it's low key, but this is supposed to be the big Star Wars, right?
No, sure, but what I'm saying is, like, in every episode of Mandalorian season 1, something exciting is happening on top of the thread of common story, right? So yes, it's like you said, Star Wars is meant to have big action, big, whatever.
Yeah.
Mandalorian did that, but it also had a story that tied every episode together.
Mm-hmm.
Same with season 2, I'd say, as well. Here with Ahsoka, you're right. The setting is not well explained to really anybody, not even the people who didn't watch Rebels. Even the people who did watch Rebels are kind of like, something's off here, because you need to explain immediate setting. And I think they did a pretty not great job at explaining what exactly is the current setting. We all know, if you watched Rebels, you all know the context of the setting, but you don't know the actual what's happening this time, this day in the show. not a lot of people, myself included, know that much about the New Republic.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it'd be nice to understand the hierarchy of the New Republic. Like, okay, it would make sense. Mon Mothma is head, whatever they call. What do they call her?
Chancellor.
Is it a chancellor?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
Chancellor
so they call her
Rex.
chancellor, but like, they're still senators. So is this just like the old Republic, the same way? They're not meeting in the big chamber anymore. Like, obviously, there's something new here about the New Republic. Like, it'd be nice to know what that is, because as far as we know, is the First Order comes back as the Second Empire at some point.
Yep.
So like, where are we at?
And
Like, there's no immediate context.
That's the elephant in the room too. Is everything's leading towards that. Like they mentioned this Project Necromancer. What do you think a necromancer does? A necromancer brings people back from the dead.
Who came back to life?
Right. Somehow. Somebody survived. So that's another taint. It's like it's tainted. It's where it's going, Like,
and what bothers me is Hera in all of this, because she's a huge character.
A useless character in this show. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but she's a big character in Rebels.
Right.
Fine. I like her there. But she's a big general in the New Republic, but we never heard about her. Like, I know obviously the original Star Wars existed before the Rebels TV show, but it's like you're just throwing her into the New Republic as this big general who's
right.
a big part of the New Republic.
She would have been in the Battle of Endor for sure.
She would have. Right.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
Yeah.
Terrible general.
I think that's the thing, is it's not just that we aren't connecting non-Rebel viewers to the show. It's that we're not connecting anybody to the immediate context of the show.
You're just like, I'm just going to try to forget certain things and, pretend it works.
Yeah. But I mean, that to be fair, that's a difficult task when you've got something as expansive as Star Wars. And I think that's why they're trying to grasp at all these like nostalgia baits, because it's something that people can relate with and they understand the context of that. Like, everybody knows that Ahsoka was Anakin's Padawan. Like, you don't even have to watch Clone Wars. Huh?
Except for Thrawn, he apparently didn't know.
Well, okay, but I mean, as a viewer, everybody knows.
I had lots of problems with Thrawn. We'll get to him in a second, but
so like, everybody knows that as a viewer, Ahsoka is Anakin's Padawan. Like, that doesn't, you don't even have to watch Clone Wars to know that. You can just like hear about it and you understand, right?
Yeah.
But then there are some things where it's like, not everybody knows that Ezra can talk to animals through the Force. Not everybody knows that because they didn't watch Rebels. So like, you've got such a wide spectrum of things that people know and don't know, and you kind of it's hard to just bring it all at the front and front load everything into a show.
Yeah.
It was cool to see Purgle, I think.
Yes.
See, that's cool for you guys, but I think it's kind of retarded, honestly. Like,
kind of retarded.
I'm sorry, you're expecting us to believe that this was an ancient race of like that's been around in Star Wars forever and never once freaking mentioned, and somehow these freaking things can travel at light speed? No, it is retarded. I'm sorry.
False.
And the fact that freaking Ahsoka is gonna talk to this freaking whale. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Rosario Dawson is terrible at Ahsoka. She's so expressionless. She's so like, it's everything that she does. It's like, how did you get to this point? You didn't do anything. For me, when she was training with Anakin. Like, dude,
for me, it's her voice, because in Clone Wars and Rebels, she has a more high pitched voice. And so, like, Rosario Dawson has a much deeper voice.
Yeah.
It just throws me off.
That young Ahsoka did better justice to the character in the 5 minutes she was on. Oh, yeah. Except for this is the Clone Wars. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Like, I'm sorry.
This is the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
She didn't look like the Ahsoka.
Yeah, she actually did a great job. Yeah. But
all right. What's
Um,
another gripe, Nathan? I
I
think we get the idea of context.
yeah. So I want to talk about Thrawn. So Lars Mikkelsen is a great actor. I love Lars Mikkelsen. But and he voiced Thrawn in the Rebels show, so I understand why they cast him.
Chilling voice. Like,
Yeah,
the
but
voice is so good.
so Thrawn was a character from the extended universe that they decided to bring into Disney. He's a great character. He's a cool character, and what I know of him from Rebels is that he's a very strong and motivated and very serious Grand Admiral. And then he pops up in the show, and he looks like he's been sitting on a couch for a month. He's fat. He's
Got a nice old belly.
He's pathetic looking. His suit is very yes, I agreed, Dilly. His suit is very not well put together. And granted, I get it. He's been in another galaxy for a long time, but that wouldn't stop him from training and getting ready for his grand return. And I think he's kind of, I don't know, he's kind of useless. Like he very much relies on the what is it, the
Night
mothers
Sisters.
the Night Sisters. He's just kind of pathetic to me. And the fact that he let Sabine go with rations and gave her weapons and everything, and just to go out like, I got a plan, and then none of his plans freaking work. It's like, oh, let's shoot at Ahsoka. They fail. Oh, don't worry, it's okay. We'll have another chance. Fail at your second chance. Fail at your third chance. It's like, dude. It's like, okay, just get the hell out of there then. Like, if that's your whole purpose, then just leave, because you're clearly failing at your attempt to kill any of them. So he's kind of pathetic to me.
It was disappointing because
they should have
at the
picked
risk
Benedict
of
Cumberbatch, honestly.
at the risk of upsetting some people, I almost think he's scarier than Darth Vader in a lot of ways. At least the Rebels one, not this one. He's a bad dude.
I'm sorry,
And
Vader's the best villain in fiction, so
he softened up a lot, apparently, in Exile.
yeah, a little bit.
So did his abs too. But
I'll say, yeah, I think it would have been a much better play if his like seemingly softness worked out and he capitalized on his opportunities afterwards. Because like he's known for being a brilliant like chess player. Like he's
Right.
like a 4D chess player. And I think like if he lets
I'm
Sabine
sorry,
go
but
with
you're wrong.
rations-
Not you, Tyler. Dilly.
No, I know. If you like let Sabine go with rations and you let Balin and Shin do their thing, but in the end you still are enacting your plan and it's actually feeding into your hand, then you've succeeded at making Thrawn who Thrawn is.
Mhm.
But the fact that it didn't turn out the way that he wanted and he's getting beat back, I think that's like, I hate it, kind of. And I don't care about how he looks. I think he's still, like, when he showed up, I was still like, oh, this dude's bad, you know? And then he started not making wise decisions. And then I was like,
Right.
okay, here he goes.
I think his top general was scarier with that face. It's like something from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you know, that guy is the actor who plays Amos. If you watch The Expanse, that's the guy who played Amos, who's the best character in The Expanse. So little known fact. I've actually seen him live at C2E2. So, no, Dilly, I'm sorry, but that I can't let that go. Thrawn is not scarier than Vader. Vader is the best. No, I'm sorry. I don't care if I haven't seen it.
You can't apologize if you haven't seen what Thrawn
No.
is capable.
Vader,
There's a reason that there's two people saying it.
he doesn't use the Force.
So you don't have to be.
It doesn't matter.
That's what makes him scarier.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Vader would
Force
whoop
and-
his butt.
Right, but
Yes, I agree.
if you're talking a physical fight, maybe. But he's not scary in a fighting way. He's scary in a super evil genius way.
Yeah.
I still disagree. I think
One-on-one,
Vader is a
one-on-one.
timeless villain. He will always be.
No, sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're being nostalgia baited right now, Nathan.
Nope, because
no.
what I'm talking about is real Star Wars here. So screw all of y'all.
One-on-one, Vader destroys Thrawn. However, Thrawn's maneuvering and ability. There's a reason he's an admiral. He is a scary villain because he commands a star fleet, and the way that he does so is menacing and genius. And so he's actually a brilliant mind, whereas Darth Vader is just an overpowering physical monster. That's the difference. They're two different types of supervillain.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, together. Imagine if they were working together.
I don't
Yeah.
doubt his scariness, and I don't doubt his cleverness or any of that. What you're saying, I'm saying as a villain, I think Vader just is a better villain. So
let me ask this question to you, because you haven't seen Rebels.
No.
But I think I know the answer. But if you were to be hunted, who would you be more scared to be hunted by, Vader or Thrawn? Hunted.
Vader, 100%.
Okay, Nick?
I think if he found me, Vader, but I think Thrawn would probably be able to track me down quicker.
Yeah.
No way. Vader can.
I'm gonna ask Nathan in the chat too.
Vader can use the Force to find you, like, because that's a freaking thing now. Obviously, Ahsoka found
Force track.
Sabine.
Okay, well, forget all the extra Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot added to the Force in
healing.
these shows that piss me off, honestly. But
that's what Sabine used. She used Force healing on herself.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, true.
Wow.
Going back to Sabine, I was gonna bring it up while we're waiting for Dilly to respond. The fact that she's a Mandalorian.
Oh.
That's true.
Oh, shut up. Luke is his freaking son.
And that's even worse. He's got a fatherly connection and a Force connection and still can't find him in 18 years.
You know what? Luke's the most powerful Jedi. You will never change my mind on that. So
okay, what about Leia?
Screw Leia. I'm sorry. not screw Leia. Like, I love Leia, but like screw her using the Force, like that. Like, no. I'm sorry. No.
Did you hear about George Lucas's original plan for Star Wars?
No.
I think I
enlighten me.
No, I'm gonna leave.
Wait, hold on. Give me a second. I do want to talk about Sabine really quick. She's a freaking Mandalorian, and she's useless in a fight. And particularly, they tried to reenact the scene in I think it was A New Hope, where Luke and Han are in the Millennium Falcon and they're shooting, right? He also never found Kenobi. Well, we're talking about Kenobi here, and Yoda. So,
we're talking about Thrawn here.
Ahsoka is like, okay, I trust you. We'll do your plan. And she's like, okay, do it when I say to do it, or whatever. And she can't freaking shoot the guys that are directly behind her. I'm like, you are useless. That just made me cringe and laugh. But
what if there's a little blue Thrawn running around out there?
A little blue Thrawn? Why?
Well, I don't know. We were talking about Vader finding his son.
Oh. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what Balin's looking for.
My issue with Sabine, man, we could just keep talking about Ahsoka. But my biggest issue
also, this is, in my opinion, not real Star Wars canon. So that was in the Obi-Wan TV show.
No. No, it's not.
They okay.
He can't
the original Star Wars.
Kenobi in exile.
Yeah, because he's freaking Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's his master.
You can't just keep saying.
I mean, you feel a certain way about him, but if you watch Rebels, you'd feel a certain way about Thrawn.
No, I just whatever. Anyways, continue.
Listen, I would hate to be hunted by Darth Vader. I would. I agree with Nick. I think that Thrawn would find me quicker. However, I would hate to be punished at the hands of Darth Vader over Thrawn. I honestly think I'm a little more scared of Vader than Thrawn, but it's pretty close. So
at least Thrawn will give you some rations.
Right. That's
and might give me my weapons back.
And he'll let me find my best friend first.
Yes, right. And then try to attempt to kill me 3 times.
But
Anyways.
time's on his side.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, for Sabine, my issue is, I think she hasn't developed. She's the same Sabine from episode 1. I don't understand how you can't develop in 7 episodes.
And I love that they're like, she's like, I'll be the worst Jedi ever, and it's so annoying. It's like, yeah, because you're not force sensitive.
Yeah. And
what do you think's gonna happen?
The only thing I can say to her fighting ability is right now she's torn between trying to use a lightsaber in the Force and her Mandalorian ways. That's the only way I can justify her inability to be effective as a Mandalorian. It's the fact that she's being torn in 2 different fighting techniques.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing with Rebels too, especially with Kanan when he was training Ezra, is they went over like fight techniques, which was actually a pretty cool part of the show. Is like there's different fight techniques and fighting styles and stances that they talked about in Rebels, and that kind of goes into this, but it's not really mentioned in the big screen or anything like that. So it's more.
Hu Yang might be my favorite character actually in this show because he's so like, yeah, you're terrible at this. You're awful.
Remember him from Clone Wars, right?
No, not really, honestly. But
No,
David Tennant's a perfect choice for the voice.
Hu Yang traveled with Ahsoka when she was Padawan, and she took all the younger Padawans to the Kyber Crystal Cave to get their lightsabers.
Oh, that's right. I remember that episode.
That's where we met the Wookiee,
the
Wookiee Padawan who showed up. Genji, not Genji.
Yeah, something like that.
Is it Genji? No.
Something like, and Bad Batch.
Yeah. But that's why he's cool. A little nostalgia bait as well, because that's calling back to Clone Wars. And Hu Yang actually was a lightsaber architect who helped Padawans build their lightsabers. So I actually think there's a little bit in there where they talk about a lightsaber going to someone else, but they made it their own by changing it or something. There's a bit of that in Ahsoka. I think Sabine's talking to Gunji. Thank you, Nathan. Gunji. That's the Wookiee Padawan. He's talking with Sabine Hu Yang, and he said, because Sabine got the lightsaber from Ezra, but then she made modifications to it to make it her own, and so therefore it's her lightsaber now, not Ezra's. And that's just a callback to Hu Yang's actual job as a droid, and that's why he knows so much about the Jedi Order as well.
So shouldn't he be with Luke Skywalker right now, training the next generation of Jedi?
Well,
no,
at this
because
Luke is in the island, right, or exile or whatever.
No, at this point, it's the beginning of the new Republic, and he should be training at the new Jedi Temple.
This is post-Mandalorian for sure, because they called the Mandalorian conflict on Mandalore in the past, saying that Gideon was just a remnant. So it depends on when the Jedi Temple fell. He's still technically young, so he can't be completely in exile. I'd say I think Hu Yang has an affinity for Ahsoka. And I think it's just easier to keep him with Ahsoka because that's when they had screen time together in Clone Wars. So it just makes sense, like, he would be the droid that traveled with her.
Yeah, I just feel like it's a waste of talent there, you know? But
sure. No, he's probably one of my favorite droids. Him, K2SO, R2. Hot take, I think C-3PO is kind of annoying.
I mean, we've always thought that. So. The second and most annoying character in Star Wars next to Jar Jar.
Like, people like him, but
like at least we get rid of Jar Jar Binks, but C-3PO just keeps coming back.
I know.
Yeah.
Also,
my
this guy
favorite R2.
The guy who voiced C-3PO was not very convincing in my opinion. he tried very hard to sound like C-3PO and did not. He kept slipping out. But
yeah, so R2, K2SO, and
K2SO is the guy from Rogue One. Yeah.
Yeah, he was cool.
I
Interesting.
think there's one more that I'm thinking of.
Chopper's annoying, but
yeah.
I hate that he can talk.
I do like the memes though, where it's like Chopper the war criminal. I think those are funny, but yes, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I see all the memes of like Chopper's kill count. It's just like off the charts.
Huh.
Oh wow.
So good.
Man,
I will say the best part of this show is the out of context memes. Like every time I'll like be scrolling through social media like the day after the show comes up, and it's like episode 5 episodes 5 spoilers without context. And like this week's it was like a square of Minesweeper, and then I gotta find it, but it was like Minesweeper was one of the squares, and then like all the different spoilers, but you have no idea what they mean until you watch the show. It's so brilliant. I love those.
Yeah, I remember those.
But anyways, I'm done talking about Ahsoka. I need to let the show finish out.
We'll talk about it more next week with the finale, but yeah. And you guys should watch One Piece in the meantime, so we can start talking about that, because that is a fantastic show. But yeah, so I also want to talk about, if you haven't heard, if you didn't know, there's a little writer's strike going on in Hollywood, and it just ended after 148 days. So I'm going to share an article here. So Hollywood writers' strike ends. Deal finalized after 148 days of work stoppage. Let me zoom in a bit. So the Writers Guild of America announced Tuesday it will end its strike after agreeing to a tentative deal with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television producers earlier this week, ending the 148-day of work stoppage that crippled productions across the industry. And just to be clear, this is not the Actors Guild strike is still happening, the whatever you call it, SAG-AFTRA or whatever. So that's still going on. But this is concluded. Anyways, they got what they asked for, essentially. The main thing against was the AI writing, the threat of AI writing stories. And honestly, I kind of don't have sympathy for them, because you're still writing crappy stories, you know. So it's like, I don't know, but I think AI is very useful in business. I use it a lot on a day-to-day. And I can understand from a creative perspective that you can feel threatened by it. But it's like, that's kind of besides the point. I think the bigger deal is stop writing crap. You know, like, it's kind of counterintuitive when you're putting communist, or I should say socialist activists in charge of this industry that is fueled by capitalism. You know, the whole point of Hollywood is to obviously entertain, but to make money. And you're not going to make money. The activism in and of itself isn't about making money. It's about proving an agenda. And by doing that, you're actively segregating a huge chunk of your audience. And so I think that's the bigger issue here, is that you're not making money because people are fed up with you and fed up with your writing, and people don't care anymore. Even normal people who don't care about this stuff like we do are kind of getting sick and tired of it. And we saw that in a lot of different things, especially with Secret Invasion, for instance. It was bad. Not just woke. It was just bad. And Blue Beetle, too, yeah. It's just very poor writing, and nothing you do to hype it up. The work speaks for itself. And now, of course, Emilia Clarke is supposed to be the most powerful character in Marvel. It's like, what?
least Brie Larson isn't. That's what
True. True. Well,
I didn't even
The
watch.
Marvels is coming out.
Secret Invasion.
I watched 2 episodes and I had to quit. You know how that's a thing they're doing now is they're rewriting all the continuity. Rhodey apparently wasn't Rhodey since before Civil War. That was a scroll. So everything that's happened since then, the death of Tony, his rehabilitation, all of that was a scroll. It's like, what?
Wait. Hold on. Tony was a scroll?
No, Tony was not a scroll. Rhodey was a scroll. So when
Are you
Tony
sure?
died in Endgame, that man who was crying over him was a scroll.
So that's not what I heard. I heard that he was him in Civil War and he got his legs hurt, but then
He was replaced during Civil War, yeah.
Yeah.
But that rehabilitation stuff at the end is not him.
Okay.
It's a scroll. Also, you made
So
one
is
of
the
the
real Rhodey
baddest.
dead?
I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't watch it, so I have no idea.
Nah,
But you want to
gonna
make?
tell me I gotta watch this crap now?
No, I'm not watching it. You don't have to watch it. You made one of the baddest, characters in the MCU. Freaking Nick Fury, pathetic. In this show, he was an old man who was tired, and half the show, like he sighed more often in this show than speaking words. And you're telling me that his wife was a scroll the entire, like he had a secret wife that was a scroll. It was a sad show. They killed off Maria Hill for literally no reason at all. So
It was probably done. She probably want it out.
yeah.
Probably did. She was like, "This is getting too woke for me. I need to get out of here."
So here's kind of the deal here. The deal allows writers to choose the use of AI to aid their writing upon receiving consent from the same from studios. The deal also offers increased compensation for the writers and adds new minimum staffing requirements for TV writers' rooms based on their episode count. So that's finally ended. Who knows when the actor strike will end? But
yeah, I will say about this, I hope that this incentivizes them to write better. I didn't agree with it. I made it clear from the beginning. Write good stuff, and this isn't an issue. However, with the stuff that this is outlined, it's still pretty performance based. They got slight minimum wage pumps, but a lot of it is incentive based too, where it's like the longer show runs require you to have a certain amount of writers. So now you're going to have to condense your writing if you're going to want to have a smaller write team. That kind of makes sense. And it's a little more incentivizing for you to write better stuff. Hopefully, that's just my hopefulness. Obviously, I'm the optimist on this show,
right?
But,
and
that's what I'm hoping for.
And I gotta say, I know I'm a pessimist most of the time, but I do think Disney is a special case. I don't think Disney's gonna improve ever. Marvel and Star Wars are dead, but I will say in certain areas things are improving.
And so was Palpatine.
Yeah, right. For instance, so Doctor Who, obviously we know all the woke stuff that happened with the 13th Doctor. They brought back David Tennant, and so far in the specials that he's been in, they went back to traditional Doctor Who, and they have tried to stay away from kind of the woke agendas. Now, who knows if they're going to continue that? Obviously, the new Doctor is a gay black dude, so that's a statement in and of itself. But I think that these studios are going to fall under, and I think they're realizing it. Warner Bros. Especially, they got some of the biggest IPs of all time. They have DC, they have Lord of the Rings, they have Harry Potter, and I think I don't know if Doctor Who is through them or not. I know it was BBC, but I'm not really sure. But they have some of the biggest IPs of all time, and they're going bankrupt practically. It's like they don't know how to manage their properties, and the DC universe in particular is kind of failing before it's even off its feet. But I think that in certain projects we're starting to see them kind of change. Now, who knows if that's going to continue? Obviously, Blue Beetle was, as woke as ever. But who knows? I think money.
Maybe the writers aren't woke. Maybe the studios are being punished by the writers. No, I'm just theorizing.
Okay.
Maybe the writers are like, "Hey, we're gonna go so woke that you guys get shredded until you start paying us." And then they're like, "Okay, it's not working. We got to go on strike." Who knows?
I don't know. I've seen interviews with these writers, and it's like they are not apologetic about their opinions and inserting those.
The blue-haired.
Right, the blue-haired the writers. So, yeah, I think when you get some good content every once in a while, you should take advantage of it and enjoy it. So that's why I recommend everybody watch One Piece. Even if you're not an anime fan, give it a try. It's fantastic. So we'll see how things happen here. I know a lot of things have been obviously the actor strike's still going on, but a lot of things have been delayed to 2024. The movie I was most excited for this year, other than Mission Impossible, was Dune Part 2, and that's delayed till March now. So yeah, the only two movies that I can think of are The Marvels and Aquaman 2 with Amber Turd. So she's gonna poop on Aquaman's seabed. But I'm kind of excited for Marvels because it's gonna be fun to tear apart. But so we'll see what the future holds. But expect a little bit of delay in some content, but it should be kind of like the COVID delay. It'll all hit at once. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all we got for tonight. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel here. We're going to be kind of sticking to YouTube now from going forward. Hopefully, our lives are pretty crazy. We're all very busy, but hopefully some YouTube video content will be coming out soon. My friend Subi and I did 4 sessions of It Takes Two gaming streams. So that'll probably be the first stuff coming out. But we're going to try to do some reviews, reacts, stuff like that on our YouTube channel. But the live streams, of course, will always be up there. So like the videos and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And if you haven't already, go check out our Discord. We're kind of redoing some things on there. It's a little crowded. Excuse me. So we kind of want to make it a little more user friendly and have some good discussions on there. But yeah, with that, we'll be back next week. Probably talking more Ahsoka. And hopefully One Piece if these guys do their homework. Just kidding.
We'll see. I'll think about it.
Yeah. But yeah.
I'm not a big anime guy,
Of course. Not at all. It's not like you've watched me in anime by 3 times.
All you need is 2 business days, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There's only 8 episodes, so they're like an hour each. 8 hours.
I can do that. I can do that in one.
It's an 8-hour day.
Yeah, that's right. Take a day off. Watch some One Piece. I'm telling you, you're gonna get hooked. It's great. It's fantastic, and it's making me want to watch the anime, which is like over 1,000 episodes, and it's still ongoing. So we'll see. I love you too, Dilly. But yeah. With that, we'll catch you guys next week.
All right.
See ya.